I'm not going to speak too long. I got to get ready. Got to get out here to work. Um, I just caught RT News talking about Rick Sanchez talking about how COVID numbers are going down, that people can see the end, people can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe he's right. I don't really follow the numbers like I should anymore because you kind of become loses value, and I want to recognize those are lives. I don't want to just look at it as numbers. Even if COVID ended tomorrow and the vaccine took out all the strains and we were back to normal tomorrow, to me, the whole 2020 period of the pandemic and the wildfires and Trump not wanting to fund California's wildfires, and Trump pulling out of the WHO, and Trump threatening the International Criminal Court. And I look at America differently than I think I may have looked at it years ago. Joe Biden's not going to change that. I look at America very differently, very differently, drastically differently. I'm talking about voters. I'm talking about a whole bunch of stuff here, not just Trump and Trump voters. Just a whole bunch of... I'm talking broadly about society. It's kind of like the old talking point of people in a survival situation resorting to cannibalism. And you'd say that, of course, you'd never do that. Of course, I'd never do that. Of course, we'd never do that. But we've never been in that kind of a situation to where we have to find out about our true selves, about what are people willing to do to survive, and how far are people willing to go to survive. And I have to say that, those kind of situations, you will find things you didn't want to find out about people. That's what 2020 was to me. Joe Biden was not, will never be a victory for the left. And anybody that thinks so is not on the left. We lost a lot of great people last year. And I hope that doesn't continue. We lost a lot of intelligent leftist leaders. And I think this whole situation, our process around COVID has really made the world move in a very dangerous direction. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. And Trump, of course, anti-intellectualism, racism about Chinese people, that didn't make it any better. I don't see America the same. And I heard him say that, I thought about that. The coming out of the cabin with a bunch of people that you've been having a fight and eat on and stuff. I guess I thought America, being an American, meant certain things. That just being an American meant certain things. And what COVID showed me, maybe I was wrong. I'm speaking in regards to people running out here with the guns and the vests on back in March, saying they didn't believe in COVID and they were willing to fight because they wanted to go to Applebee's. And one guy wanted to buy fertilizer. One woman couldn't get a haircut. Yeah. This is America. And that's before you had the violence and the attempted kidnapping of the Michigan governor, Gretchen Whitmer. That's before that. I hadn't even gotten into that yet, the violence. But just, I don't trust my fellow Americans. I don't. COVID kind of showed me that you've got a lot of people who were more bothered about the fact they couldn't go to Applebee's, and a whole bunch of people were more bothered about not being able to watch the game than they were about a worldwide pandemic. America is not a leader in morality or public health or anything. For me, that's over with. For me, America's no better than a third world country. Period. And I guess I just, in all the scenarios, I guess I thought that whether it be climate change, whether it be anything you can speak of as far as a disaster, I thought people would come together eventually. I thought that for Republicans, it's like this: we're tough, we're strong, we're independent, but if there is an emergency, we'll work together with the rest of other Americans. That's wrong. I was wrong. I was hella wrong. I was wrong, and I acknowledge that. These people don't see themselves member of a society, and they think they can do whatever they want. And I think that what COVID showed you is, what if COVID had been worse? What if it had been worse? What if we do get an airborne disease at some point? What if Ebola comes back? Guys, there's no cure to these diseases. SARS just went away. There's no cure to SARS. There's no cure to MERS. There's no cure to Ebola. There's no cure. It's like 3 strains of Ebola. There's no cure to that. I knew back in March that this thing was going to stretch on for a long time. That's what these diseases can take. We don't have a cure for AIDS. When did that come out? These diseases don't. The idea that you're going to come up with a cure for a disease in a matter of months without anybody wearing masks, that was never going to work. And Trump played it up like we're going to come up with this magic potion. He named this shit warp speed, which in my mind is saying, let's get this over. Let's get it out of the way. Let's get this over with. It just COVID showed me I don't have the same values as many Americans. I don't. I said this before. I respect Julian Assange. I respect, Snowden. I could never do what they did because I think the average American is not worth it. The average American is not worth me risking my life, my freedom, people I love, people I care about, for them. COVID kind of demonstrated that point. You're working and living with people that don't share your values, and those values are of a robust sense of the public good. That's probably one of the key things there. Trump showed you that nationalism doesn't work. And nationalism, what can nationalism do about climate change? Runaway climate change. What can nationalism do about wildfires that are disproportionately affected by climate change? What can nationalism do about a pandemic? Nothing. So what the right does constantly is downplay it. Well, COVID isn't that bad. Yeah, well, the wildfires, it's California's fault. They always downplaying it because they have no answers. They wouldn't, because there are no answers. These are answers. These are questions. These are crises that can only be solved regionally, nationally, regionally, on the UN level, basically. There's no other way you could solve these problems. Period. And unless you're gonna just put patches on it like Trump and lie and do nothing about them. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I wrote. That Trump is the future Republican Party. That when things get really bad, when climate change is really bad, the Republican answer is, well, do nothing about it. Nothing about it. Trump did nothing about it for 3 months. The tapes came out where Trump openly said, "I'm a cheerleader. I don't want to spook people." Yeah, you didn't want to spook the stock market. You didn't care about our lives. You didn't want to spook the investors. That's what you're talking about, Mr. Trump. I knew what he was talking about. You got to understand the language. He wasn't lying to you. He didn't want to create a panic for the investors, for the stock market, for his businesses. Yeah. That, like I said, that is that's the Republican way. I think in the future, as climate change gets worse, as wildfires get worse, as this stuff continues, we'll just downplay it. We just won't do anything about it. hopes and prayers. Hope and prayer. I'm going to pray for you. Hope and prayer. That's right. We're going to pray about it. We're not going to invest any money in it. In fact, what did Trump do? For every rule they created, he was like, you got to destroy 2 rules. Yeah, that is the nationalistic Trumpian way of politics. That's it. And what did he say about the they want to open the churches, and the reporter was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And they were talking about you can open liquor stores, but you can't open churches. It's so stupid. There's places in the South where they sell liquor, but they also sell food. Those businesses also sell food, so you're starving people without opening those stores. But when they got asked, they said, "Well, of course you'd be against opening churches." That is the Trumpian politics, and that's the politics of the right now. That's what they do. This is what they do now. It's all culture war, conspiracy theories, whataboutism, hot takes. This is their world now. This is the Republican Party post Trump. Something to it. There's nothing there. This is what he created. This is what he. I mean, it's a good thing in that it makes them weaker. Like I said, I just get off subject. My thing is just that I look at America much more differently than pre-March 2020. I don't trust most people, and I'm in some cases I'm embarrassed to be an American. I really am. America is not a force for good anywhere, and Americans have no business telling anybody anywhere about democracy and living freely. Americans have no fucking business, period, point blank. No business. No business whatsoever. I'm talking about from the tariffs and the trade war. We started with Europe, pulling out from the Kurds, all this kind of stuff. Americans have no business. Any of that. None of that. That's done with. I think that Trump just showed the world, A, that America's not a force for good anymore. B, we don't even want to be that anymore. We don't even want to be the good guy anymore. That we're like a mobster that's old. That just wants to hold on to all his holdings and shit. And he's just like anybody that threatens me, I'm going to kill you. But he doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't care about anything else. That's just it's the world Trump created, and that's not going away anytime soon. Thanks for listening.